Hey everyone! So it is time for the July garden tour, which means that somehow 2022 is already halfway over. So I would say the biggest changes in June were, well, one, it warmed up quite a lot, which means that all of the plants exploded in growth, and we also started getting blooms on a lot of the flowers. So we kind of started the month with a lot of green, and now there's a lot more of the different colors showing up in the garden. So it was a very good month, much hotter than average, I would say, although that might be the norm going forward. So let me take you around now and show you what the garden is looking like at the beginning of July. We'll start in our usual place with this center raised bed. So in the raised bed, I have my Supertunia bubblegum vistas, and then I have two different varieties of zinnias. I have Cinderella peach and Oklahoma pink. So basically this whole bed is going to be pink and peachy colored, which I'm excited to see how it's going to turn out. And the zinnias are just starting to flower. I'm also starting to notice some holes, not too many yet, on my Supertunias, which means there are some budworms in there somewhere that I'm going to have to be on the lookout for. But that is the center bed. Last year I had the giant Banari zinnias, which are back there. These should be much shorter, so I think that'll work better in the center of the garden. Now down here, I'm not particularly in love with anything here. So I have container Delphiniums, which I started from seed last year, overwintered in these pots. There were some pansies around, or no, violas around the Delphiniums that I pulled recently. And it's hard because I have grown them since last year, but I just don't love them. So I might end up pulling these. The heucheras were, I feel like, fine to put in here. I think I'm probably going to plant them out in the parkway and put just annuals in here going forward, because I think I'd like to be able to change it up and just add some more color here to these pots. And then this is the other Delphinium where the blooms already died off, so I snipped them and now it just looks kind of sad. So I'll probably add, I don't know if I'm going to pull these this year, if I might just add some stuff to the Delphinium pots, but we shall see. So now let's swing over here to this flower cart. So down here I have the Morning Glory, which I started inside and was planning to keep inside and then ended up kicking it out of the house. So that is growing up and taking over the entire top of this cart, just as I had hoped. Then down here I have two ferns, and I can tell how much this one dislikes the afternoon sun by the browning of the front leaves here. So I'm probably going to move this, shift it just a little bit to where there's more shade, because the times we've been getting heat in the high 90s, 100s, this fern over here has not been enjoying it. Swing over here to look at the actual cart. So I have Poppies here that I got from the local school that I painted the little seed library for, and the students there started flowers and I got some of them, and the school colors there are red and white. So the mixture, which I believe is Shirley Supreme poppies from Floret, are red and white. Then I have some not Supertunia, Super Bells down there. Supertunias in each of these pots, showing a little bit of budworm damage. Some Alyssum, I forget what that is, but I don't know if I love it. It doesn't bloom as often as I would hope. I do deadhead it regularly, but there's tiny yellow flowers on that. And then back here I have the Lover Coleus that is now enjoying it a little bit more. I think as these plants get bigger, it's getting a little bit more shade, which is making it happy. And then I have my Chandelier right there with the super balls and the spider plant. I really, really love how this has turned out, and it's not even fully grown in yet. Down here I have the other fern. You can see how much happier this one looks. There's essentially no browning at all on it. So this corner, again, we get most of the shade over here. This corner is the best for the ferns, so shift that other one at some point. And then over here I have one of my hydrangeas. My hydrangeas have pretty much told me they're only going to be happy against this wall. Over on the table I have my small pot of Alyssum, which I keep forgetting to water and it keeps flopping during the afternoon, but so far it's come back. So I'll try to keep better care of you going forward. Then I have one of my mint, which is catmint plants, which is in a little bit of a quarantine because it had an aphid infestation. So I'm keeping an eye on it. I just basically blasted it with a hose and then sprayed some neem on it. So there is still a little bit of aphid activity. I don't know if you can really see that. So I'm going to keep an eye on this, probably give it another good blast right after I'm done with the garden tour, and hopefully I can move it back. I mean, it was completely covered, so the fact that I'm only really seeing a handful on it now makes me happy. Here are my non-quarantined herbs, and yes, I did go through and check all of them for aphids because I figured if I saw it on one, there was a chance I've seen it on the others, but luckily none of the other ones seem to have that issue so far. There have been caterpillars on my dill, which I wanted, and then the wasps have come along and eaten them, so now my dill is also unfortunately caterpillar free, but I absolutely love growing this amount of herbs in my garden this year. It's at least double what I had last year. Coming around to the corner here against this wall, I have my other two hydrangeas. They both got a little crispy in the 100-degree weather that we had here too. They both do seem to be coming back. This one actually also had some powdery mildew, but you can see the fresh green growth there. So I'm hoping those do much better now. I have my elephant ear, which has absolutely exploded, especially compared to last month's video. My lemon tree down here, which is absolutely loving being outside. And then I have my two raspberry plants. This one I've had for a couple years now. This one I just took from a runner of that one this year, and it is also exploding in growth. It does look a bit different. I mean, the leaves are a lot larger on this one compared to this one, so that's interesting. I've also had some iron issues with this one, so I put some iron on it, but also I think it has a little bit of an acidifier in it, so the leaves now are starting to go back to green instead of a little bit of the yellow with the green veining. Down here I have my two blueberry bushes. This one is the dwarf blueberry I just planted this spring. This one is a blueberry I planted in 2020, I believe, at the same time as the original raspberry. I have two strawberry plants in this container here, and then I have my knockout rose bush that I replaced the rose tree that I got in the fall that died. So this is like my first full season of having roses, and I really love the knockout roses. This is actually the second flush of blooms on the plant. Coming up in the raised bed behind here, it is just full of gomphrena. I had gomphrena in here last year as well, but it was all one color, which was carmine right here. This year what I did is I have a mix of four colors, which is the carmine, strawberry, which is a red color, this one here, and then orange and purple. So I'm excited to see those start to just go crazy and have a bunch of color in this bed. Swinging around now down this path. So over here I have rhubarb, Aronia berry with two straw flowers, and another rhubarb back there. On this side, I have kind of my little veg patch. So I have my green beans here, which also did not like the heat. In fact, a lot of the leaves got very burnt, so I removed those. Then I have what are called giant Dahlia Zinnias. So those are growing in here, just started to bloom in the last week. I have Nasturtiums in front of my two cherry tomatoes. I have already harvested off of both of them. So the one on the right here is the super sweet 100. Those turn red. And then I think this one is called, where is it? Sun Sugar. So these are yellow, which is my first time growing a yellow cherry tomato, and I actually realized I was forgetting when to harvest because they were yellow and I was waiting for them to turn red, and then remembered, oh, they're not actually going to turn red. So far I have not noticed any budworms, which is nice. Maybe the wasps have also been eating them at the same time they've been eating the swallowtail caterpillars. Just realizing I probably need to stake a few more of the branches up. Then I have my pepper plant here, which I've already harvested 2 peppers. That one might be good to go. It feels pretty stiff. And then I have my eggplant right behind it, starting to put on some fruit as well. Then behind the pepper and the eggplant, I have the giant Banari zinnias, which were in the center raised bed last year. And last year I remember having pink, red. I don't remember if I actually had any white. It's a mixed variety, so you don't know, which of the seeds you're planting, what color they're going to become. But I know I did not have any that were this like maroony, fuchsia-y color. It looks a little bit brighter on camera than in real life. I absolutely love this, so I was excited when that popped up. Not too many pests that I've noticed on here yet. I mean, I would rather the aphids take my catmint than my zinnias, so far so good. I'll just give you a quick close-up here of the Aronia berry and the straw flowers I randomly planted in the pot, so these look like they're about to explode in blooms soon. My other rhubarbs right there. Swinging over here are my extra zinnias. I replaced, I think it was the grape plant that was in here. So these are the same zinnias that are in the center raised bed. They're a bit further along, so you can see the color of the Oklahoma pink and the Zinderella orange. And then behind it, I have 2 more Supertunias. These are the Supertunia Jazzberry, Supertunia Vista Jazzberry. Oh, look who it is. Little budworm. I knew you guys were out here. All right, well, you know what? I will, let me cut to take care of that, because if I don't do it now, I'm going to forget. Okay, RIP to that budworm. Behind it, I have my straw flowers, which we are starting to get some blooms from here. Those are absolutely beautiful. I'm excited to dry these and the Gomphrena, because these will essentially dry how they look when they are fresh. So I'm excited for those. And then I have the lilies, and that popped out of nowhere, and I still don't know how they got into this bed, but apparently I must have planted them at some point. I have the random carrots here I also forgot about before I planted up the bed with the flowers, so I'm just gonna let these do their thing and maybe get like a handful of carrots from there. Then here's a look at the back wall, which my goal for this year was a wall full of dahlias, and I think I'm getting my wish. So these are the 2 that I pinched. So there are flowers starting to form, but nothing has fully bloomed yet. I'll show you, because I have the same 2 varieties on the other side, what the flowers look like. I have my cantaloupe here. I have 2 Gomphrena, so I had extra Gomphrena. This is purple, this is pink. That's the variety name, is QIS purple, QIS pink. I have the fire pot decorative dahlias, which I have had 2 flowers off of this one already. Nasturtiums, another fire pot decorative dahlia. These get 2 to 3 feet tall compared to the 4 to 5 feet of the other ones. And then I have some single stemmed sunflowers growing in the back that I probably need to wrap some twine around soon. I put the bars from my greenhouse in there, so I should probably add that to my to-do list. I have 3 sunflowers that I, 1, didn't label, so I forgot which varieties they are, and 2, don't really know the spot for yet, so I've just kind of been moving them around. But these have absolutely exploded in growth, and we should have some flowers here soon. Back behind it, now this is the Thomas A. Edison, so this is on the other side as well. This is the first flower from it. I absolutely am in love with that color. So that is Thomas A. Edison. There are 4 total dahlias over here. Let's move the sunflower out of the way. So each of these dahlias are a different variety. These I did label. So this one here is Otto's, I wrote down Trill, it's Thrill, Otto's Thrill Dahlia, and this one I'm pretty sure matches what it's supposed to look like. So it's a beautiful pink color there. And then there's this one, which looks absolutely nothing like it's supposed to. You can see it's like the outer petals are white, there's a little bit of a creamier, like buttery yellow in the center, and then all of the petals are outlined in purple, which is Again, not at all what it's supposed to be. The variety for this one, I only have one of these because the other one did not sprout. Okay, found the tag. This one is Emery Paul, which again, if you search for that, not at all how these look. My plan was to have like brightly colored ones, but you know, I'll take what I can get. And then over here, this is the Watermelon Penhill, which has not bloomed yet. This one I overwintered in the garage. It was growing last year. I just kept it in the grow bag, popped it in the garage, brought it out into the house in March, and it started to sprout again. So that one, still waiting for the blooms to actually open. Down here I have more Morning Glory growing up this trellis. And I think that's now everything in the garden. I'll do one last sweep over here so you can see what everything looks like. So that's what my garden looks like at the beginning of July this year. I will link down below the playlist for both the previous months of this year and also the playlist for last year's monthly garden tour, so you can see kind of the difference between what I'm growing last year versus this year. But other than that, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.